No longer mourn for me when I am dead, by William Shakespeare. No longer mourn for me when I am dead, then you shall hear the surly, sullen bell give warning to the world that I am fled from this vile world, with vilest worms to dwell. Nay, if you read this line, remember not the hand that writ it, for I love you so that I, in your sweet thoughts, would be forgot, if thinking on me then should make you woe. Oh, if I say you look upon this verse, when I perhaps compounded am with clay, do not so much as my poor name rehearse, but let your love, even with my life, decay, lest the wise world should look into your moan and mock you with me after I am gone. Welcome. Shakespeare was born in 1564 and he died in 1616. This sonnet was written in the 1590s. We don't always feel loved and accepted by the world, do we? There are times when we may feel scorned, we may feel rejected, we may feel mocked, we may feel isolated, we may even chastise ourselves, or we may feel depressed. It is interesting that Shakespeare's sonnets have such a neat and compact form. After all, it is the 3 quatrains and the rhyming couplet. But in spite of being so neatly ordered, the emotions they evoke are ones of turmoil, aren't they? Perhaps even, as we've said, depression. We identify with the persona, the speaker of the poem, and we try to create some order out of the emotional turmoil as we move through the poem. Most of the sonnets are lyric. They are not narratives. And the interesting thing is that the actual lyric form seems to reflect the content of the poem itself. This is a very emotional poem, isn't it? Think of the first line. The first line is, "No longer mourn for me when I am dead." It really seems to contradict all of our expectations. For most people, we would be happy, wouldn't we, if we knew that people loved us so much that they would miss us sorely when we were gone. What does the poet want? He wants to erase his memory completely. How can we see this? It's certainly unexpected, isn't it? Possibly we could even question the way in which the poem should be read or the way in which it comes across. Is this a personal, intimate poem? Or should it be seen as a public declaration of love, of a noble, selfless, magnanimous love? Let's see what you think. In the first quatrain, no longer mourn for me when I am dead, then you shall hear the surly, sullen bell give warning to the world that I am fled from this vile world, with vilest worms to dwell. It begins with an apostrophe, a direct address to the beloved, doesn't it? No longer mourn for me when I am dead. In fact, he urges the beloved not to mourn for him any longer than they hear the surly, sullen bell give warning to the world that I am fled. That surly, gloomy bell that announces the death of the loved one gives way to a rather macabre image, doesn't it? Because he flees from the world. He regards the world as vile. It has no value for him. In fact, he's repelled by it. It is vile. And he flees from this world, however, into death, to dwell with vilest worms. The second quatrain picks up a new theme where the first quatrain focuses firmly on death and urging the beloved not to mourn for long. The second quatrain introduces a new idea, the idea of writing and the power of words. In the second quatrain, nay, if you read this line, remember not the hand that writ it, for I love you so that I in your sweet thoughts would be forgot, if thinking on me then should make you woe. So concerned about his beloved that he would not want the beloved's sweet thoughts to be disturbed by memories of him. And the power of writing to conjure up those memories comes across here. Also, it's interesting that so and woe rhyme here and almost produce a very sad and somber music, which weaves in the idea of death and mourning so skillfully, whilst making a statement about writing. In the third quatrain, this idea of writing is developed. Oh, if I say you look upon this verse, when I perhaps compounded am with clay, do not so much as my poor name rehearse, but let your love even with my life decay. So the persona imagines his beloved coming across the poem when he is dead and buried, compounded with clay. And do not so much as my poor name rehearse. He doesn't want his name to be said. He urges that his name should not be said, because all those memories will come flooding back. But let your love, even with my life, decay. He begs her to forget him immediately in order to avoid the pain and perhaps the hostile reactions of people if the beloved is openly mourning for him. So very much at odds with the world. At odds with the world. He's tempted to flee from the world which is regarded as vile. This same world will harshly criticize a public mourning of the beloved. And that line, perhaps, let your love, even with my life, decay, could be seen as the most moving line in the whole sonnet. Let your love, even with my life, decay. So much love and care that the beloved must not endure a hostile reaction even when he is gone. He would rather that the love itself decay, that the beloved is freed from this pain and suffering and grief. And it ends with this couplet, lest the wise world should look into your moan and mock you with me after I am gone. The wise world, lest the wise world. Well, that certainly is a touch of irony there. Certainly does not believe the world is wise. And he implies, in fact, that the world is not wise and that it will intrude on the private grief of this beloved. Lest the wise world should look into your moan and mock you with me after I am gone. Clearly here, there's such an intense concern for the beloved's feelings. Lest the wise world should look into your moan and mock you with me after I am gone. He definitely doesn't want the lover to be the target of heartless mockery because of him, because of the love for him. So intense concern for the lover. Well, we learn a lot here, don't we, about love, about pain, about the power of writing to conjure up thoughts and feelings. If you found this poem interesting, then please remember to click subscribe. And if you are a student preparing for an exam, please remember to click subscribe and visit me at my website, formuse.org.